Really appreciate you guys coming down and giving us some of your time, because time is money. But if you will, I'd like to open for about 10 minutes if anybody have any questions to the attorney.
I'd like to ask the attorney.
Come around here on this side over here.
Does he think that the arbitrator exceeded his authority? The arbitrator is supposed to have limited authority with this.
Let me do this. I want you to come on around, so he can get you on around here. And all the way right here by Justin.
No, I just wanted to ask the attorney
Yeah, no, but I want you to come up so you know who you are and who you were. Right there's good.
That's good.
Yeah. So just identify yourself and then go ahead and ask your question.
Retiree CTA, former board member. I wanted to ask the attorneys about the basis for the contract going to Springfield. The arbitrator, from what many of us believe, exceeded his authority by promoting a contract that had all of these variables in it and that had to be codified in Springfield. And secondly, I understand what the judges are saying, that these things are negotiated in contracts. And we're talking about the second part where we're talking about the active members now, when we have to go back and try to fight that to get their monies back. Okay, but when you go into an agreement and you have what they call memorandums of understandings by two different parties, that's not contract negotiations. And we understand that healthcare can only be dealt with in contract negotiations. So that being the basis of attacking the second part.
So your question?
My question is, can't that be the basis for attacking the second part of this, where the active members really didn't get opportunity to vote?
Okay, we'll let him answer. You can just lay that right down.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I think we think that the arbitration was a setup, and that's not right. But I think that that's not something that we can get the judges to listen to us over. The judges are taking a position that the union was the one that should have challenged that, and of course the union was on board on this thing. But we do think that an arbitrator can't do away with vested rights. So we think he exceeded his authority. But at the bottom line is the enforcement of that comes down on the Retiree Health Committee and the CTA. So they're the ones that we're really going after on this. We're saying regardless of what the arbitrator said or did, whether he had the authority to do it or not, it still violates the Constitution, and it shouldn't be allowed by the court. And there should be an order requiring the Retiree Health Committee to reimburse people for what they've lost, to create a retiree health plan for the active employees that's equal to that of the active employees, and not charge them. So it's part of our argument that this wasn't done properly, but it's not something we're ultimately going to be hanging our hat on in the case.
Anthony, you had a question?
I have a question.
You identify yourself.
Good evening. Again, thanks a lot for all the hard work that's been put in, and you all did an outstanding job.
You who?
Outstanding job. My question is...
Who are you?
Oh, my name is Anthony Jones. I'm a retiree from Local 241. My question is, do the CTA or the union have a right to negotiate on behalf of the retirees after they have retired?
Good question.
No, they don't have authority to negotiate on their behalf, and the retirees have their own right to enforce the contracts that they worked under. And once they retired, the union can't negotiate on their behalf. And the court agreed with us on that point, and
Right.
he found that the retirees did have standing.
I noticed the court agreed with us on a lot of points with the retirees. Come around. You got another question?
Yes.
And
Yes, my name is Gus Stevens, former executive board member of Local 241 and retiree. And the questions I'm asking to you attorneys here, is this: that we all know that unions take on the role of a fiduciary status. Okay. Now, at any point in time, did they neglect or abuse their fiduciary status? And if they are indeed a fiduciary, okay, they are also considered a surety. And by being a surety, they go to court and they represent us. And one of the things that sureties do is they represent people for their debt. Now, CTA and the state of Illinois is trying to say that, well, this debt for retiree health care, it should be coming from who? From the union membership. We as a union membership never gave these people the right.
What's your question?
Okay, my question is, since we didn't give them the right to take our monies, okay, how can they do this? You see what I'm saying? Because if they are our surety, okay, why can't you, the attorneys, make them, CTA and the state, go after the people that signed the agreement? Memorandum of Understanding. Make them pay for it, not us. Make what's his name, Rick Harris and Darrell Jefferson pay for it.
Thank you for your question. Thank you for your question. Let me jump on that a little bit, and then you can answer that. Brother Gus, it's just like you say, how did they do that, and how did you let them do that? Nobody let them do anything. It's just like when you're walking down the street, somebody stick you up. It's not like how you let them do it. They stuck you up. Now, what we got is some bona fide people to come and make them give you your money back that they stuck you up with. That's what their job is. Okay? I think I might have answered that if you want to throw a little more in there.
Well, as a practical matter, do you know any union reps that have $80 million? Because I don't think we'd be going after them for what people have lost. This was money that was supposed to provide for retiree health benefits. It's there. They still have more than $500 million, and that money should be used properly. So we would suggest that that's where the remedy should be. And the remedy that people have for union representatives that they don't think did the right job is to vote them out of office and get somebody in there who's going to represent you. Now, the retirees don't have that option, but the active employees have now seen the results of the appellate court decision. The appellate court is saying that their remedy is against the union representatives.
Pete, let me jump in for a minute. Yeah, the retirees do have that option to vote them out. They can vote the top officers out. So,
well, you may
hear that, retirees?
You may want to consider it.
That's what, and this is true. You know, it's laugh about it, but it's a serious thing. I said that once before, and I say it again. That they gave you that story the last time. You know, we were trying to tell you, and I understand that it's hard for you to make that decision. Now you know, because you've been suffering. Now we got restitution coming, and when it comes time to elect your representative, you make sure you put the right person in there, because if you don't, we'll be looking at something like this again. So you make sure that you go and do that.
Let me say, we don't have restitution coming yet. We still have a long way to go. The next step is probably going to be the Supreme Court, and if not that, we'd be back in the circuit court fighting over how much the retirees are entitled to, and then we'd be going up to the Supreme Court on the active employees' rights. So we're a long way away. It certainly wouldn't help to have the union on our side if the union switched places.
Did you hear?
That's not where it is now.
Did you hear that, union? It would go a lot faster. and as a matter of fact, if the union had been on our side 2-3 years ago, I believe this thing would have been done. That's just my opinion. I do believe we would have had it done by now. That's just my opinion. Had another question.
Leonard Morris, retired Vice President, Local Union 241. My question, and this $80 million that we're thinking that the health trust owes, does that include the deductible for the health insurance that we paid for going to the hospital?
Well, that'll be decided if we ultimately get back to the circuit court what the damages are. Certainly, we're going to be looking for reimbursements of premiums, but also the difference between what they would have paid under the active plan and what they're paying under the retiree health care trust. So that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at as damages to get reimbursement to the plaintiffs.
So that everybody understands this, what the appellate court said was these are our findings. Now, and they agreed with us on I counted 90%, but of our complaint. And what would have to happen now, it goes back down to the circuit court. They're saying get it straight and get it done. Now, if we get to a point where we can't do that, then we'd be appealing, So we don't know, but I don't think it's going to. Well, I won't give you my opinion until I see what's happening. But let me put it this way: I'm very happy. We got one more question.
One of the things a lot of members have asked them, that's when they separated the retirees from the active members. And that's when we started paying extra costs. Up until that time, we was paying a premium. And I think one of the problems started when they put all of the retirees into actual costs of retirees. And I think what I understood him to say, that we should have been in the same plan with the active members.
Well, there's a difference on who's paying for it and what your level of coverage is. And the deal for 25 years was that the level of coverage would be whatever the union negotiated for active employees. And so there was protection there under collective bargaining for the retirees. And when they set up this separate health trust, they ordered them to design a benefit plan and fix the benefit plan and the premiums so that they would balance and that they would have to make adjustments from time to time. So they came up with a plan that was not as good as the active plan. So that's why we are talking about damages. And one thing Jerry mentioned is that, if we go back to the circuit court and we win, it's still not over, because I guarantee you that the defendants would file an appeal also. Mm-hmm. So we are a ways away from final decision on any of this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that has been the pattern. I know we filed, and we went through this years ago with the Fair Labor Standards Act. We had the same situation. What finally happened when the CTA saw that they had nowhere else to go, and we're going to keep beating them until they run into a corner, then they turned around and said, let's settle. But right now, I think it's a huge victory. I think you gentlemen would agree with me, because these type things don't happen every day. And I think the appellate court recognized that our rights were violated. This is why they made the decision that they made, okay? And so, it's hard to celebrate, when you just won the first half of the basketball game. But in this case, I think we can, and we got a ways to go. You're not going to get it tomorrow. No matter if we get everything we want, it's not going to be tomorrow. But got to sit down and negotiate, litigate, talk, do whatever you have to do to get it done. But the bottom line is, we got what we were looking for when we went to court. I think it was on the 7th, if I'm not mistaken, for the retirees. Now we need to move forward and get it for the active people, and continue to do to mop up what we need to do with the retirees. Am I on the right track with that?
That's right. We're either going to get some reconsideration by the appellate court, in which case it could end up in the Supreme Court sooner, or else they'll say no, and then we have to go back to the circuit court, and we have to get the circuit court to rule on how much the retirees are entitled to, as a subsidy. Our position is they're entitled to have the whole thing covered, and the defendants are arguing that there should be a cap on how much the retiree health plan will pay. So we're still fighting about how much the retirees are supposed to be protected, and that would be back in the circuit court. Ultimately, these issues are going to end up in front of the Supreme Court. There's so much money involved, and there's so much politics. The likelihood that this is going to settle is probably slim.
Okay. Then we're going to have to just fight to get all that we have coming. Mm-hmm. We're running a short of time, and I just want to do this and thank you guys for coming in. And for members and retirees, you got to understand how much time and work has been put into this. This has been ongoing for 5 years. And again, I want you to thank the initial guys that started this, thank the other people that worked with the initial guys that started this, but most of all, we really, really will have to appreciate and thank this law firm. And if you look this law firm up, you're going to find out that they are one of the top law firms in this state. And for them to take their time out to work with us and stick with us all this time, I think it's tremendous. And we're looking forward to not only winning this portion, and I hope everybody understands. If you don't, go back and look in the archives, and you can see Pete and Justin, and you can, always pull it up and listen to it again. But for them to do all that they've done and continue to stick with us, I think that we owe them one heck of a gratitude, because we don't have the money to. Now, I did promise to let him win a game on the golf course, so.
I'm working on it.
Pete, I really appreciate you coming down. Justin, I really appreciate you taking your time out to come down to talk with us about this. And
it may seem odd, but I thank you for getting us into it. It's been a long battle, and it was a tough decision to make, but I think you helped us make the right one, and we're happy to be in it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're going to go to commercial now, and we'll be right back with my next guest. But thank you again, gentlemen.
Okay.
Thanks.
For dark girls with tight clothes and abundant curls, bright white smiles the color of smooth round pearls, and pigmented skin the color of rich soil, hot cocoa brew, this is for you. There's a chocolate woman in Washington. For brown girls from chestnut to coffee shade, their pigment they are taught to despise and to hate, put on your best dress and throw away your lightning creams and shame. I got something to tell you. There's a gorgeous dark woman in D.C. Okay, I know you're thinking, there should be. D.C. is called the Chocolate City. Well, I need you to turn on the TV, read a newspaper, maybe switch from BET to Oprah or MSNBC, because this is epic. Don't know how you missed it, didn't see? I gotta ring the alarm, hear me. There is a strong black woman in the White House. This is a PSA. You gotta love your shade. The First Lady does. And you should do the same. You are beautiful, lovely, and wonderfully made.
International Detective and Protective Services, 1-773-675-8506. Over 20 years of armed security experience. The very best in shopping mall security, inventory watch, find missing loved ones, investigative open legal cases, community policing. Are you taking a vacation this summer? For peace of mind, you need our House Watch service, cheetah surveillance, and much more. International Detective and Protective Services. 1-773-675-8506. That's 1-773-675-8506. Call now.
Every now and then I get that feeling, and I've got something I want to say.
One of the great things about being a vegan is that the uniqueness of it.
And I've got to say it my way.
So gathered with me today are just a sampling of those vegans who have become loyal supporters of Soul Vegetarian.
Welcome to Soul Vegetarian Restaurant.
Golden's Tropical World. Come to Golden's Tropical World for tropical fish of all sizes, colors, and types, and other small animals like iguanas and birds from all over the world. There are beautiful tanks, pet supply needs, including dog and cat foods, and expert consultation. Check out Golden's Tropical World, 8611 South Ashland Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Call ahead, 773-239-8809. Your pet shop.
All right, we're back now, and my next guest is also from the Chicago Transit Authority. The attorneys, I really appreciate them coming in and giving us all the information that they did. And you can always get information if you ever need to know what's going on with the lawsuits and things like that, just email me at talklabor@gmail.com. Talklabor@gmail.com. And I'll keep you posted on everything. But right now, I got a gentleman with me that I'm very impressed with. He's head of an organization that was started way back with the Amalgamated Transit Union, and it's called the ATU Black Caucus. It was formed because a lot of African Americans felt that they were overlooked, and didn't feel it, they knew it. They were overlooked, and I was part of the Black Caucus for a long time, 15 years as a matter of fact. And I met the original, the person that actually started that. And I thought he was a very good guy, Bruce Foster and some of the other guys. But right now, I want you to meet a gentleman that I think is a very intelligent young man, and he's doing some of the things that need to be done to make sure that the ATU or any union that they're dealing with do what they're supposed to do, and make sure you don't look over anybody, and make sure that they look out for that membership. And his name is Nate Scurlock. Nate, how you doing, buddy?
All right, how you doing?
Good to see you.
All right.
All right. Tell us a little bit about the Black Caucus. You're the president, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, the Black Caucus been around long before I ever was hired at CTA. I think it started somewhere around 67, so that means I probably was about 2 years old at the time. But anyway, they started that, from my understanding, because they wasn't getting represented properly with the international. So when they did that, they started getting representation and so forth, and it started growing from there. Also, from my understanding too, the last time CTA had a strike, it was a strike with the employees. It wasn't just against the company, it was against the union for not representing the members properly. So, and that was, I'm taking it was a racial issue.
Yeah.
So, I got in, when I got involved with the union, we mandated, President Jefferson mandated that we start a chapter, and that's what we did. So me and a few other guys, we got it started in 2008, and we've been working ever since.
So how's it going? How's the chapter going right now?
It's getting big. It's growing, not tremendously because of all this problems with the international trusteeship and so forth, because we really taking a hit.
Yeah,
they've fired a lot of members, and they're not getting represented properly and so forth. It's a lot of mess going on.
Yeah, I remember years ago, they had the International Convention here in Chicago, and I was the keynote speaker. And I pointed out during my speech how inadequate the racial makeup was of the ATU. As a matter of fact, I told them you had 0 African Americans on your staff, and which was totally ridiculous. And you had to be some African American somewhere in the country that could fill some of these positions. And I said it like that, and I did it to get the reaction that I got, because you shouldn't be afraid to stand up and say what you believe. And is that where the caucus is now? And not that anybody hate any other ethnic group. You love them all, but you stand up for the Black Caucus. Is that what's happening now?
Right.
Is it anything different?
Yes, that's exactly what's happening. And plus, African Americans make up the majority of the company and the union itself. So if we have issues and they're not being taken care of, that's what the caucus is for, to bring light to it, to bring it out, and so forth. So that's what we trying to rally the people around and get them together to get these issues handled, because a lot of folks are losing their jobs.
I heard you speak the other day, and you made some very good points about things that need to happen with the local.
Right.
And you and a group of other people, you all had a meeting, happened to step into it, by it, and you guys were talking about it, and I thought that these are some of the things you do. So the Black Caucus, what are you doing now? Do you raise funds? Do you to get out and talk to the members? What did the Black Caucus do
Yeah,
right now?
well, we talk to the members. We're trying to get more people involved because it's like a lot of the members are asleep now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's kind of on edge about their job, and instead of dealing with the rights they have and the rules the company has, dealing with that, everybody is kind of a little fearful. So that's what we're trying to rally them around and get them strong so we could slow this stuff down.
Well, what I noticed, and you got a person here that know all about that, and that's Mr. Leonard Morris. He was here, I believe, during the time that the Black Caucus. I don't know if he's doing it form, but I know he has a lot of history on that. And what was happening, you didn't have any African Americans as vice presidents of the ATU. They were all representatives, which was way under. Am I correct?
Right.
And the Black Caucus got together and said, "Hey, you're gonna either put some of these very intelligent young African American men and women into their position, or." So they didn't want to hear "or." So they came and started addressing people according to their merits and not just putting the good old boys in there like they did. So now with the Black Caucus, you got a situation with Local 241 right now. Are you guys focusing on that at all, as far as trying to get your local back on track?
Yeah, well, the main thing right now is we want to get out of trusteeship.
Right.
And we could get our local back.
Right.
Now, when you spoke about the international vice president, when I was a board member for 7 years. During that time, there were 7 African American international vice presidents. After this last convention, it's only 5.
Getting it back.
So it's like they're trying to reverse everything. So, it's right now it's time. We got to stand up.
You got a tremendous job in front of you, but if you're up for it, you can do it.
I look at it like this: we don't have a choice.
Okay, good.
If we don't do nothing now, it's a done deal. It's over with because they taking. So,
one of the things that, in my suggestion, would be that you all that have the Black Caucus, when it comes to union meetings, get your Black Caucus members out there. Have them at that meeting. If they're too lazy to go to the meeting, that means they're satisfied with being fired and being whatever money's taken from them and all that. You're satisfied.
Right.
But if you're not satisfied, come with me to that meeting, because at the meeting, you make a difference. You run it.
Right.
The membership run. I don't have to tell you that. You know that.
Right.
But that's some of the things, and I'm glad to hear that you do have that Black Caucus, and you guys are stepping up and doing some of the things that need to be done. I met another guy with you all, Lonnie.
Yeah, Lonnie Walker. He was one of the founders with me.
Oh, is that right?
He couldn't make it today. So.
Yeah, I understand. He has some family issues.
Right.
But and we appreciate you coming down. I want to thank you for coming down, and you're more than welcome to come anytime that you feel you want to stop
I'll come
by.
back. I will come back.
And you get some good stuff you want to blast out to your members. This is where you come.
Okay.
We don't just talk about CTA. We talk about the middle class, and we talk about working people. We talk about the poor people. We talk about rich. We talk about kids, and we talk about everything on this show, because this show is Talk Labor. And once again, I want to thank my guest, Nate Scurlock. Okay? We'll see you next week on Talk Labor with Jerry W. Williams Sr. Hey.
It's time to talk about what's going on in America. It's time to talk about what's going on in the workforce and in the homes of the American middle class. It's time to talk about the status and the future of today's economy. It's time to talk labor with your host, Jerry Williams Sr.